One of the questions I keep getting constantly is what frames I'm getting while playing Star Citizen. So in this video, I'll answer the question, is Star Citizen playable on a dual 4K setup? The setup itself, if you haven't watched my previous videos, has two 4K short drop projectors and image is warped for 180-degree screen. But while the computer is rendering the dual 4K resolution, the effective resolution I'm seeing isn't that good at every place because of the warping. But hey, can't have them all, I guess. The projectors themselves could go up to 120 Hz refresh rate with full HD resolution, but with 4K I'm getting 60. But keep in mind, I'm a middle-aged man playing simulators, not an under 20-year-old esports professional with reflexes of a small square and mouse sensitivity so low that they need to go to their neighbor's yard just to do a 180-degree turn in an FPS game. Damn kids, better stay off my lawn with their fancy mouses. More details about my setup in the description, but yes, I'm running GeForce 4090 and currently probably bottlenecked by my CPU. I'm going to try out Star Citizen in few different scenarios and compare how the game performs in a more challenging spot like a city to what I'd be getting while playing most of the time. And as the grand finale, Orison or Orison. Damn, where's Paul Shell when you need him the most? My settings are maxed out except the clouds are on high. So, let's go. Okay, before we start the, let's say, benchmarks, just a couple of words what's happening here, because the MSI Afterburner didn't want to work with the screen warping software, and Nvidia's experience overlay absolutely didn't want to work with the software. So what I'm doing here is I'm using OBS to capture the right hand corner of the display. It's showing its warp, so I cannot basically capture a normal gameplay video. And using external computer still to capture this image, so I'm not recording anything on this display. But let's start with something challenging. So we are at New Babbage, IAE is ongoing, and we're just getting out from the tunnel. And frames are still way above 30, almost 40. While it's not particularly good, it's still playable in a situation like this, where I basically am not playing anything, I'm just watching the scenery. Occasionally drops a bit, but still. Okay, and now let's go for a short flight in atmosphere around New Babbage and see how that affects our frames. Naturally, close to the city, it's much worse. But should get better as we're getting a bit farther away from the city. Okay, as we got outside from the atmosphere, the frames are already looking much better. And the interesting thing here is that the clouds are always a frame rate killer. When I'm flying and looking to the planet, my frames fall to around 50, under 50 frames per second. But as I turn around and fly towards the station, they will easily, as you see, get up above 60 frames per second, which in my book is already perfectly playable. And now some actual gameplay footage instead of just sightseeing around. I just took a random HRT here and it actually gave me an atmosphere bounty, so let's see what happens to FPS and is this actually playable. We seem to have a Karak here, so this won't be over quickly, that's pretty certain. Okay, so we seem to be hovering with atmosphere bounties around 50 FPS, plus or minus 5. And when it comes to kind of gameplay experience, what I'm having here, I would say this is perfectly playable.
I had you to protect me, now get back here and protect me!
Okay, once we get to space, it's a bit different. As you can see, already almost 90 FPS, so I think this is already quite playable for most of the people. Let's see what happens when we get to combat.
Target down.
Okay, and as the, let's say, grand finale, the audience favorite, a definite all-time frame rate killer, Orison. And as I'm walking around here, I'm still getting over 30 frames per second. Nothing spectacular naturally, but compared to what I'm doing here, it's playable. But before actually calling it a day with this benchmark, or what you want to call it, I will quickly try out Arena Commander. Again, I think there's the same effect that when we're looking towards the planet with clouds, the frame rates will suffer, but when we're looking somewhere else, the frame rates will be much better. As always. So, there you have it. This wasn't naturally a thorough benchmark, but to answer the question, is Star Citizen playable on dual 4K resolution? For me, it is. But for you, I don't know. But I'm happy with my setup, and again, I'd expect things to get better as the development continues. I also tried once lowering the resolution to dual 1440, but got surprisingly few extra frames, and the drop in sharpened wasn't worth it. But hey, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and hope to see you next time.